Making a device called a Flexagon is a great way to create variations where you're opposing images against each other. And it's a device that looks like this. Here I've collaged some photographs of a dog that I met on here. And the way that the Flexagon works, and I'm going to teach you how to actually build one, is that once you get it all collaged together, you can actually create all of these different sorts of relationships by the way that as you unfold it again and again, the pictures start to relate to each other in different ways. So here I've done one with a photographic kind of collage, and then sometimes I also make them with remnants of old paintings of my own, so that if you want to reactivate your own images, you can perhaps create a collage with remnants or color copies of your old paintings. And then what's kind of fun is that once you create an image like this, you could potentially take a viewfinder, like even just a couple pieces of paper, and shop for new images by cropping and recomposing interactions and oppositions between colors and shapes that you wouldn't normally have a chance to actually explore. So we're going to make a Flexagon. We're going to make one that's initially going to look something like this, like just a blank piece of, two pieces of paper that I'm going to teach you how to fold and glue them together. And then you can cover them with collage, you can even draw on them. And then every time you change their relationship, every time you fold and refold it, it's like an image generator. So what you're going to need is you're going to need two pieces of paper. This is sort of a heavy-duty drawing paper. You could use cardstock. These are 8 by 8 inches. So the first step is to mark the middle of each piece of paper. And I'm just going to take my ruler here, and I know this is 8 inches wide, so I'm going to take the ruler and I'm just going to mark 4, 4, and then I'm also going to mark the other end. So I'm marking the center bit of these papers, 4 and 4. And then the next step is to take each sheet and fold it inwards to that midpoint. So you're going to take the right hand edge and you've made that center mark. You're going to fold it to the center mark best you can. And when you finally get the fold, you want to crease it pretty well. And then you'll take the other side and fold it to the center. And you want them to meet, fairly regularly, not overlap. So you're going to do one piece like this, so there's a fold to the middle, and then you're also going to do the other piece, so there's a fold to the middle. So I'm going to do this one too. And I'm using the back of my nail just to really crease it. And then, once you get them folded to the middle, you're going to cut each one in half this way. So once again, just to be sure, you might just want to make a measurement about where the halfway point is on each one. So because these are 8-inch squares, the halfway point is going to be right in the middle at 4 inches. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to go ahead and cut these in half. That one and this one. So I end up with 4 equal pieces that are 4 inches tall, just like that. So that's the starting point. Then, once you do that, you want to connect them together. So what you're going to do is you're going to put 2 aside, and then you're going to open these up. And in this case, you're going to lay these down in a mountain fold. So by mountain fold, it means that these peaks, it's like a mountain range, these peaks are pointing upwards. And that's just the orientation. So you have these creases on the sides. You can flatten them out a little bit if it helps. But the orientation is a mountain fold upwards. Okay. Now comes the part where we're going to attach the top to the bottom. So this part is going to be connected to the bottom, And what you're going to do is basically take this and glue this corner down to the corner below it. So I'm going to show you how that's going to work. So basically you're going to take this corner here and you're going to glue it down to that corner. And I'm just going to put glue on the corners. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this, I'm going to lay this down on this upper corner here. So it's just this upper section right here that's being glued. Then I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to glue it down to its corresponding corner here. So now the corner in the back, the corner in the front are glued down to the under layer. And usually I like to hold it down for a minute just so I know it's actually adhering. And again, we've got this gap in the middle here, this little gap in the middle. We want to retain that gap as we're gluing these corners down. And then we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. You're going to put a little bit of glue on this back corner here. You're going to put glue on its corresponding corner, and you're just going to lay that down. Again, making sure you have a little gap in the middle where these pieces meet. And then I'm going to do just the same thing in this fourth corner. Just laying a little bit of glue in here and then matching this up best I can and gluing it down. So now all the corners are glued. I'm going to hold it down for a moment. Okay. And then usually what you'll do is you'll press it until it's fully glued. So just the corner squares here. Once you have a sense that it's glued down pretty securely, and sometimes I like to press it a little bit, then what you can do is basically start creating some folds just so you can kind of train it to fold back in the ways that you want it to. So this is working pretty well. And then I can open it this way and kind of train it to be in this position. And I can open it again and train it to be in this position. So I know I have all these options in terms of the way that it can be folded and refolded. And then some of the options you have with the Flexagon is you can really start anywhere. You might start to populate it with bits of collage, with photographs, whole photographs, partial photographs, and work in that way. But another thing that I like to do sometimes is actually to kind of like just free form draw on it, so that let's say you're working across the entire thing, maybe with a blind contour drawing or something a little bit more free form. If you want to work in something other than collage, you could work with something more related to drawing or painting on here. And then once you do maybe one section, you could open it up, allowing this section, you can continue off of it, maybe linking up with itself again. You don't even have to link up with it, and then perhaps moving again into more shapes that are interconnected. But this substrate is really this grid that keeps unfolding and folding again and revealing sections that could potentially be linked up, so that there's a fluidity that starts to be created by the way that you continue to work along the Flexagon. So this idea, and then you have this whole other side, it just keeps revealing itself again and again. So I might actually kind of have an area that I want to work off of and fold it again so it has that feeling. There are a lot of things that you can do with Flexagons. So I just think it's a really great image generator. And then once you sort of have it all sort of laid out, if you're going to work with drawing as opposed to collage, you can start to work in with color variation and how things line up with each other. And so whether or not you're working, let's say, with a image, a photographic image that you're working with over and over again, or perhaps a drawn image, again, what is fabulous is that once you start to kind of fill it in and paint it in, you can go back, and every time you open it up, you can find a new sort of intersection that might give rise to a new painting or drawing and an idea that would not have happened if you didn't have a system or a device that would give you so many variations. So a Flexagon's a really awesome way to generate new imagery, whether you use it in terms of drawing, whether you use it in terms of collage of photographs, or whether you use it in terms of kind of almost like regenerating your own work in a new way. There can be incredible series that develop from this device. So use a Flexagon, see if it could be a way to yield new material. I think you'll find that it is almost exponentially inspiring in terms of the number of variations you can create and work from.